Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today is Friday, February 19th, 2021. Big show today. College basketball, NBA, NHL. We'll go over the games from yesterday, look ahead to today and the weekend's games. Tennis, we will go over Australian Open results and look ahead to the finals. Golf, we'll go over the current leaderboard at Pebble Beach. NASCAR, we'll preview and predict all the races for this weekend at the Daytona Road Course. My latest NHL power rankings, news and notes, and my best bet of the day. All right, we'll start in college basketball. We will go over the games from yesterday, and we will look ahead to today. Without further ado, here we go. South Carolina upset over Presbyterian 65-51. Gardner-Webb over Radford 77-49. Campbell over Hampton 76-57. Wichita State upsets number 6 Houston 68-63. Number 11, Iowa over number 21, Wisconsin, 77-62. Longwood over Charleston Southern, 70-62. Vermont over UMBC, 80-71. Illinois State over Bradley, 88-71. Number 4, Ohio State over Penn State, 92-82. So best bet comes through. Belmont over Jacksonville State, 63-59. BYU over Pacific, 80-52. Oregon State over Utah, 74-56. Eastern Illinois over Murray State, 68-59. Wassapee over SIU Edwardsville, 79-57. Number 1, Gonzaga over St. Mary's, 87-65. Number 3, Michigan over Rutgers, 71-64. UCLA over Arizona, 74-60. East Kentucky over Tennessee Martin, 89-72. Tennessee State over Tennessee Tech, 91-86. Winthrop over High Point, 76-70. San Diego over Santa Clara, 71-60. Loyola Marymount over San Francisco, 68-63. Southern Utah over Sacramento State, 88-69. Weber State over Northern Arizona, 92-59. Eastern Washington over Montana, 90-76. Number 25, San Diego State over Fresno State, 67-53. Portland State over Idaho, 84-64. Washington State over Cal, 82-51. Stanford over Washington, 79-61. And Oregon over Colorado, 60-56. All right, looking ahead to today, 3 o'clock, we have Southern Virginia and Davidson. We can skip that. At 5 o'clock today, we have Vermont and UMBC. My projection for this is Vermont by 2. And FanDuel has this at 3. Total 136. I am going to take... I don't feel good about it, but the under. I think that this is very, around the numbers, so I'm going to go under 136 for that one. All right, next up, Canisius Fairfield. I'm at Canisius 8, and it's 5. I'm going to lay the 5 with Canisius. IUPUI and Youngstown State. I'm at Youngstown 4.5. It's 6.5. I'm taking IUPUI. 6 o'clock, Longwood Charleston Southern. I am at Longwood 7.5. And it's 4.5. I'm going to lay the 4.5 with Longwood at -106. Campbell Hampton, I'm at Campbell 7.5. And it's 4. I'm going to lay the 4 at Campbell. Wright State, Northern Kentucky, I'm at Wright State 8. And it is Wright State 8.5, total 144. I'm going to take the over. Oakland, Milwaukee, I'm at Oakland 3.5. And it's Milwaukee 2. I'm taking the 2 with Oakland and plus 116 straight up. Robert Morris, Detroit Mercy, I'm at Detroit 8. It's 9.5, total 143. I'm going to take another over. South Alabama and Appalachian State, I'm at South Alabama by 0.5. It's App State by 2. I'm taking South Alabama plus the 2 and plus 110 straight up. Troy and Georgia State. I am at Georgia State 9.5. And that's what it is. Total is 143.5. I'm going to take the over. 7 o'clock, Jacksonville Stetson. I'm at Stetson 4. And it is Stetson 5.5, totals 132. I'm going to take the over at -116. Monmouth, Iona on ESPNU. I'm at Monmouth 7. It's Iona 2. I'm taking Monmouth in the points. And I think Monmouth would be, plus 125 straight up. And that line's courtesy of ESPN because FanDuel doesn't have it because Monmouth's in New Jersey, obviously. ESPN 2, St. Louis and Dayton. St. Louis 2.5 is my projection. And it's St. Louis 5. I'm taking Dayton plus the 5 here at minus 106. Cleveland State and Purdue Fort Wayne. I'm at Cleveland State 14, and it's 4. I'm laying the 4 with Cleveland State at minus 106. Winthrop and High Point. I'm at Winthrop at a whopping 19.5. And it's 9. I'm going to lay the 9 with Winthrop. Southern Miss FIU. I'm at FIU by a half. And it's 4. I'm taking Southern Miss plus the 4. Akron Ball State on CBS Sports Network. I'm at Ball State 7. And Akron's favored by 4.5. Wait a second. Is that even right? That doesn't feel right to me. Oh, wait a minute. I put the wrong sign down. Akron. It's actually Akron 7, not Ball State 7. I just double checked. But yeah, I had the wrong symbol there. I apologize, guys. So I'm gonna lay the 4.5 with Akron at minus 106. Oops. Hawaii and Cal State Northridge. I am at Hawaii 2.5, and it's Hawaii 3.5. Total's 145. I'm gonna take the over. Cal Poly and Long Beach State. I'm at Long Beach State 7.5, and it's 7.5. Total's 144. I'm going to take the over at minus 116. A lot of overs today thus far. Next up at 7:30, Old Dominion UAB. I'm at UAB 1. And it's 6.5. I'm taking Old Dominion plus a 6.5 at minus 116. 8 o'clock, Kennesaw State Lipscomb. I'm at Lipscomb 13. And Lipscomb is 13. Total is 136. I'm going to take the under, but I don't feel good about it. Marist St. Peter's. I'm at St. Peter's 7, and it's 8.5. I don't know what the total is. But if it's, I could just project it in my head, it'd be like in the high 130s, low 140s. But if I had forced to take a side, I would take Marist getting the points. Denver UMKC, I am at UMKC 7, and it's 10. I'm taking Denver plus the 10. Next up is North Dakota Omaha. North Dakota 5.5 is my projection, and it's Omaha by 2. I'm taking North Dakota plus the 2 and plus 110 on the money line. Green Bay UIC, I'm at Green Bay 1. And it's UIC 1. I'm taking Green Bay plus the 1 and minus 104 on the money line. UC Riverside, UC San Diego. I'm at Riverside 3. And Riverside's favored by 9. I'm taking UC San Diego plus the 9 to keep it within the number. Irvine Fullerton, I'm at Irvine 12. And it's 10.5. Total's 138.5. I'm jumping on the over. Next up, 8:30, South Dakota State, North Dakota State. I am at a pick'em here. And it is North Dakota State 1.5. Total 145.5. I'm taking the over. 9 o'clock, CBS Sports Network. Wyoming against New Mexico. I'm at Wyoming 6.5. And it's Wyoming 6, totals 139.5. I'm taking the over at a juice minus 116. Utah Valley, New Mexico State. I'm at a pick'em. And it's New Mexico State 9. I'm taking Utah Valley plus the 9. Plus 340 straight up's enticing, but I'm not going to pull the trigger. I'm just going to take the plus 9 to be safe. Cal Baptist and Grand Canyon. I'm at Grand Canyon 7.5, and it's 9. Total's 145. I'm going to take the under at minus 116. Tarleton and Dixie. I'm at Dixie 1, and it's Dixie 1.5. Total's 143. I am taking the over. ESPN 2, Toledo, Buffalo. I'm at Toledo 4.5, and it's Buffalo 2. I'm taking Toledo plus the 2 and plus 110 straight up. That could be the Vegas nose game of the night. 9:30, UNLV, San Jose State. I'm at UNLV 7.5, and it's 15. I'm taking San Jose State plus the 15 at minus 106. 10 o'clock, Fox Sports 1, Utah State, Boise State. I'm at Boise 1.5, and that's what it is. Total's 142. I'm taking, I don't feel good about it, but the over. ESPN U, 11 o'clock, Cal State, Bakersfield, and UC Santa Barbara. I'm at Santa Barbara 2, and it's 7.5. I'm taking Bakersfield plus a 7.5 to keep that within the number. Saturday's games. Oral Roberts, South Dakota. We don't know a time yet. 12 o'clock, North Alabama, Liberty, Navy American, UCF, Tulane, Michigan, Indiana, Siena, Niagara, Georgia Tech, Miami. 12:30, LaSalle, St. Joe's. 1 o'clock, SEC Network, Vandy at number 8, Alabama. Fox, UConn at number 10, Villanova. CBS, Kentucky at number 19, Tennessee. New Hampshire, UMass Lowell. Loyola, Maryland, Lehigh. Ryder, Quinnipiac. Morgan State, Delaware State. Marshall, Rice. Wofford, Western Carolina. VMI, the Citadel. Charleston, Hofstra. 2 o'clock, ESPN, number 15, Texas Tech at number 23, Kansas. That's a good game. I could see Texas Tech going in there and winning, but I don't have projections in front of me. And if you'd like to see some projections, maybe I'll share them on Twitter tomorrow at my account at Madison Mills 128. So, again, if you want to see some projections for me, go to my Twitter page at Madison Mills 28, not 128. ESPN 2, Saturday, 2 o'clock, number 20, Missouri at South Carolina. BU, Colgate. ACC Network, Notre Dame, Syracuse. NC State, Wake Forest on ACC NX. Southern Miss, FIU. Furman, Mercer. Eastern Michigan, Kent State. Along William and Mary. Sacramento State, Southern Utah. Northern Arizona, Weber State. Eastern Washington, Montana. 2:30, George Mason, VCU. 3 o'clock, ABC. Number 13, West Virginia. Number 12, Texas. Great game. At gunpoint, I think Texas will win. They need that game more than West Virginia, arguably. But West Virginia kind of needs it too. So it's like a make your resume look shinier game for both of these squads. Holy Cross, Army, BYU, Loyola Marymount on CBS Sports Network. That's a solid game. Portland State, Idaho, 3:30. Number 5, Illinois at Minnesota. Is that a trap game? SEC Network, Georgia, Florida. 4 o'clock, ACC NX. Number 16, Florida State at Pitt. Binghamton, NJIT. Bucknell, Lafayette. Stony Brook, Albany. NCAT, Florida A&M. ESPN 2, Stanford, Washington State. Bryant, Merrimack. Sacred Heart, St. Francis, Brooklyn. ESPN, Auburn, LSU. Troy, Georgia State. South Alabama, App State. Old Dominion, UAB. Pacific, Portland. 4:30, Duquesne, Richmond. 5 o'clock, Jacksonville, Stetson. Canisius, Fairfield. Abilene Christian, Southeast Louisiana. Rice State, Northern Kentucky. IUPUI, Youngstown State. Oakland, Milwaukee. Robert Morris, Detroit Mercy. Cleveland State, Purdue, Fort Wayne. Jacksonville State, Tennessee State. Tennessee Tech, Belmont. Eastern Illinois, Austin P. Morehead State, Tennessee Martin. Lamar A&M, Corpus Christi. Louisiana Tech, Middle Tennessee. Kansas State, TCU. Chattanooga, UNC Greensboro. 5:30, CBS Sports Network, Seton Hall, Georgetown. Big Ten Network, Purdue, Nebraska. Incarnate Stephen F. Austin. Alabama A&M, Southern. 6 o'clock, ESPN 2. Number 9, Oklahoma at Iowa State. Arizona, USC. NC Central, SC State. ESPN, Louisville, North Carolina. SEC Network, Mississippi State, Ole Miss. Eastern Kentucky, Southeast Missouri State. Central Arkansas, Nichols. Pepperdine, Santa Clara. Mississippi Valley State, Prairie View. Ohio, Bowling Green. Miami of Ohio, Northern Illinois. 6:30, Grambling, Jackson. Alabama State, Alcorn State. 7 o'clock, Monmouth, Iona. St. Fran, Pennsylvania, Wagner. Mount St. Mary's, Fairleigh Dickinson. Central Connecticut State, Long Island. Hawaii, Cal State, Northridge. Cal Poly, Long Beach State. 7:30, CBS Sports Network. Number 25, San Diego State, Fresno State. DePaul, St. John's. 8 o'clock, ESPN 2, San Diego at number 1, Gonzaga. ESPN, number 7, Virginia at Duke. Kennesaw State, Lipscomb. Marist, St. Peter's. ESPN U, Colorado, Oregon State. Denver, UMKC. North Dakota, Omaha. Green Bay UIC, San Luis State Houston Baptist, Seattle Texas Rio Grande, East Tennessee State Stanford, Riverside San Diego, and the Big West, Irvine and Fullerton, 8:30 SEC Network, number 24 Arkansas at Texas A&M, Fox Sports 1 Colorado State Nevada, South Dakota State North Dakota State, SIU Edwardsville Murray State, Arkansas Pine Bluff Texas Southern, 9 o'clock Pac-12 Network, Utah Oregon, Utah Valley New Mexico State, Cal Baptist Grand Canyon, Tarleton Dixie State, 10 o'clock ESPNU, Cal Washington, ESPN2 Arizona State UCLA, and Cal State Bakersfield at UC Santa Barbara. Sunday, 11:30 a.m. Eastern, Rhode Island, George Washington, 12 o'clock, North Alabama Liberty, Marshall Rice, Siena Niagara, Little Rock Yale Monroe, 1 o'clock CBS, number 3 Michigan at number 4 Ohio State. That's a great game. Winner of that game could have the upper edge on a 1 seed. I like the Buckeyes at home. That is the game of the weekend. ESPN, Cincinnati at number 6 Houston, BU Colgate, Ryder Quinnipiac, Morgan State, Delaware State, Georgia Southern, Coastal Carolina, Charleston, Hofstra, 2 o'clock, South Florida, Temple, Stony Brook, Albany, Sacred Heart, St. Francis, Brooklyn, Mount St. Mary's, Fairleigh, Dickinson, 3 o'clock, Louisiana Tech, Middle Tennessee, Binghamton, NJIT, Army, Holy Cross, Hampton, Longwood, Maryland, Rutgers, 3:30, Davidson, St. Bonaventure, Oral Roberts, South Dakota, 4 o'clock, Evansville, Drake, NCAT, Florida A&M, CBS Sports Network, UNLV, San Jose State, Central Connecticut State, Long Island, St. Fran, Pennsylvania, Wagner, 5 o'clock, Penn State at number 11, Iowa, that's probably on the Big Ten Network, UTEP, FAU, Valpo, Southern Illinois, 6 o'clock, CBS Sports Network, Lehigh, Loyola, Maryland, Lafayette, Bucknell, Navy, American, NC Central, South Carolina State, 7 o'clock, Big Ten Network, number 21, Wisconsin at Northwestern, Western Michigan, Ball State, and Butler, Xavier. All right, that is one heck of a weekend slate in college basketball. And now we'll move on to the NBA as we will go over the games from last night that were on TNT and not on TNT. And we will look ahead to tonight in the weekend's games. Raptors over the Bucks, 110-96. Toronto, 14-15. Milwaukee, 16-13. Norman Powell led the way, 29 points. And Giannis had 23, 12, and 8. Nets over the Lakers, 109-98. Nets, 19-12. Lakers, 22-8. James Harden, 23-11. He was tremendous. LeBron at 32 in defeat with 7 assists. Heat over the Kings, 118-110. Much needed win for the Miami Heat. They're 12-17. Sacramento's 12-16. Tyler Herro had 27 points. And Nemanja Bjelica led the Kings with 25. All right, tonight's window at 7 o'clock, you have the Warriors against the Magic. I am sitting at right now Golden State 9.5 total, 221.5. Meanwhile, it's Golden State 4 total, 224. I love Golden State minus the 4. Stephen Curry, even if it goes up to 4.5, I love it. Curry's just going to be a monster. No trap game. This is a letdown for the Magic after their Knicks win. So give me Golden State minus the 4. If it goes up to 4.5, I'm still going to lay it because it's still a 5-point differential. Nuggets Cavaliers, I'm at Denver 12 total, 222. Meanwhile, it's Denver 9 total, 225. I'm going to lay to 9 with Denver against Cleveland. Bulls 76ers, 7:30 on ESPN. I'm at Philly 12.5 total, 228. Meanwhile, it is Philly 8 total, 228.5. I'm going to check on the status of Ben Simmons really quick before I pull the trigger here. It looks like that he will be back tonight, so I'm going to lay the 8 with Philly. Don't forget, no Lauri Markkanen for the Bulls. So I'm going to lay the 8 with the 76ers on national TV tonight. Hawks-Celtics rematch game. Boston 3.5 total, 223. It's Boston 4 total, 225.5. I'm going to take the under. So, that's that. And then still no Marcus Smart for Boston. And then no DeAndre Hunter for Atlanta. 8 o'clock, Pistons, Grizzlies. I'm at Memphis 9.5, total 223. Meanwhile, it's Memphis 4.5, total 220.5. That's low. I'm laying it with Memphis. Ridiculously low. It's like, please tell me that Ja Morant's playing, because that is the most ridiculous line I've seen in a while. Ja Morant's easily the best player on the court in this game. I love Memphis laying the 4.5 against Detroit. Thunder, Bucks. I'm at Milwaukee 9, total 227. It's Milwaukee 10.5, total 230.5. I'm taking the under at minus 108. No Drew Holiday back yet. Suns, Pelicans. I'm at Suns 7, total 224. It's Suns 3.5, total 231. They keep overinflating these totals, so I'm going to take the under 231. Mavericks, Rockets postponed due to severe weather in Houston. And it's just sad in the state of Texas with the weather that they have going on. Thoughts and prayers to everybody out there. 9 o'clock, Raptors, Timberwolves. I'm at Raptors 12, total 225.5. And it's Raptors 2.5, total 225.5. I love Toronto laying the 2.5. This is not a trap game. D'Angelo Russell's still out, so I'm going to lay the 2.5 with Toronto against Minnesota. And then 10 o'clock, ESPN Jazz against the Clippers. Hopefully Kawhi and Paul George are back for this game. They were questionable for the game. And it is Utah 4.5, total 225, and I'm at Utah 3, total 223. Regardless if those two players are back or not, I'm going to take the under. I like it a lot. I think that with those two players there, I think that their defense is better, and even the Jazz's defense is really good. So this is less about Paul George and Kawhi's status and more about the defense of the Utah Jazz. So give me under 225 at minus 108 for that game. The rest of the weekend on Saturday, Spurs-Knicks postponed. The Spurs are dealing with some COVID issues. 8 o'clock, Warriors, Hornets, Pacers, Rockets, 8:30 ABC Saturday primetime, Heat, Lakers. No Anthony Davis for that one. Finals rematch. I think it'll be a competitive game. Lakers will probably win. 9 o'clock, Kings, Bulls, Suns, Grizzlies, and 10 o'clock, Wizards, Trailblazers. Sunday, 3:30 ABC, Celtics, Pelicans. Not as exciting as people would have thought in the preseason due to the Boston Celtics just being an underachiever. I think the Pelicans, it's a good opportunity for them to show off on national TV on the big stage. I think they can win that game. 7 o'clock, Timberwolves, Knicks, Thunders, Cavs, Pistons, Magic, 76ers, Raptors, 7:30 Nuggets, Hawks, 8 o'clock ESPN, good game, Nets, Clippers. No Kevin Durant, but hopefully Kawhi and Paul George are back. Hopefully they're back tonight for the Jazz game, but if they're back for this one, and if Durant's back, that'd be mega. So that's just potentially what last night could have been, and that is an NBA Finals preview. And at 9 o'clock, the Kings and the Bucks. All right, now we'll move on to the NHL. We will look back on last night's games and look ahead to today and the weekend. So without further ado, here we go. Rangers over the Flyers 3-2 in a shootout. A much needed win for the Rangers. 5-7-3. Phillies 8-3-3. The number 3 star of the game with the goal, Nicholas Aube-Kubel. The number 2 star of the game with the goal, which was the game-tying goal that forced overtime, Joel Farabee, who's had a great year for Philly. And the number 1 star of the game with the shootout winner and an assist, Artemi Panarin. Devils over the Bruins 3-2. Hey, the Devils might not be that bad. They're 6-3-2. Boston, that's a bad loss for Boston. 10-3-2. Number 3 star of the game with the goal, Pavel Zacha. The number 2 star of the game with 25 saves on 27 shots, Mackenzie Blackwood. And the number 1 star of the game with 2 goals, Kyle Palmieri. Penguins over the Islanders 4-1. The Penguins 8-6-1. Islanders 8-5-3. The number 3 star of the game with an assist, Mike Matheson. Number 2 star of the game with 31 saves on 32 shots, Tristan Jarry. He's playing better. And the number 1 star of the game with the goal and assist, Jason Zucker. Blue Jackets over the Predators 3-0. Columbus 8-6-4. Nashville 6-10-0. The number 3 star of the game with the goal, Max Domi. The number 2 star of the game with the goal, Cam Atkinson. And the number 1 star of the game with 32 saves on 32 shots in the shutout, Elvis Merzlikins. Maple Leafs over the Senators 7-3. Toronto 13-3-2. Ottawa 4-14-1. The number 3 started the game with a goal and 2 assists. Joe Thornton. The number 2 started the game with a goal and 3 assists. Mitch Sparner. And the number 1 started the game with 2 goals and 2 assists. Austin Matthews. Capitals over the Sabres 3-1. The Capitals 8-4-3. Buffalo 4-7-2. The number 3 started the game with 22 saves on 23 shots. Vitek Vanchik. The number 2 started the game with a goal, Nick Backstrom. And the number 1 started the game with a goal, Tom Wilson. The Blues over the Sharks 3-2 in overtime on a game winner by David Perron. Shen tied it late in the third. St. Louis 10-5-2. St. Jose 6-7-2. The number 3 started the game with 30 saves on 32 shots. Jordan Binghamton. The number 2 started the game with a goal and assist. Mike Hoffman. The number 1 started the game with the overtime winner and 2 assists. David Perron. Kings over the Coyotes 3-2 in a shootout. The Kings 6-6-3. Arizona 7-6-3. The number 3 started the game with a goal. Jeff Carter. The number 2 started the game with a goal. Dustin Brown. The number 1 started the game. The shootout winner and an assist. Gabriel Velarde. Wild over the Ducks 3-1. The Wild 7-6-0. Anaheim 6-8-3. The number 3 started the game with the goal, Sam Steele. The number 2 started the game, didn't have a point, but just played well, Joel Eriksson Ek. And the number 1 started the game with the goal, Ryan Hartman. And obviously, Lightning Stars postponed due to the inclement weather in the state of Texas. Only 4 games tonight. You have the Blackhawks and the Hurricanes at 7 o'clock. That is a actually pretty good game for a Friday night. Wish that one was on TV. Carolina's minus 198. Chicago's plus 166. Over under 6.5. Overs even money. Unders minus 120. Blackhawks plus 1.5 is minus 164. Carolina minus 1.5 is plus 138. The Blackhawks at plus 166 is very enticing, but I'm going to go with the juiced under at minus 120. The Blackhawks have been playing well on defense. They found themselves a new little identity. And Carolina's a good defensive team too, so I'm giving under 6.5. Panthers, Red Wings. The Panthers are minus 196. The Red Wings are plus 164. Over under 5.5. Overs minus 115. Unders minus 105. Panthers minus 1.5 is plus 144. Detroit plus 1.5 is minus 172. Joel Quenneville has the Panthers rock, and I'm going to lay the puck line with Florida minus 1.5 at plus 144. 9 o'clock, the Oilers and the Flames. Calgary's minus 118. The Oilers are even money. Over under 6.5. Oilers plus 1.5 is minus 280. Calgary minus 1.5 is plus 230. I know North Division overs have bit me in the ass a lot this year, but I'm going to do it here. I like these two teams offensively with McDavid and Draisaitl and Gaudreau and all the pieces that the Flames have. So I'm going to go over 6.5. And at 10 o'clock, the Jets and the Canucks. The Canucks are minus 118. The Jets are even money. Over under 6.5. Overs even money. Unders minus 120. Jets plus 1.5 is minus 280. Canucks minus 1.5 is plus 230. I'm going to go with another North Division over at even money. I just think this is a high-scoring game. 2 prolific offenses. Vancouver's offense is starting to play a little better. And I like the Jets' offense. So give me over 6.5 at even money. Saturday, 12:30, Rangers, Capitals, Sabres, Devils. 3:30 NBC, you have the Golden Knights and the Avalanche in Lake Tahoe. That's going to be a fun game. It's going to be Mike Tirico, Eddie Olczyk, and Brian Boucher on both Lake Tahoe games, Saturday and Sunday, respectively. 5 o'clock NBCSN, Panthers, Red Wings. 7 o'clock, Blue Jackets, Hurricanes. 7 o'clock as well, Islanders, Penguins. Preds, Blue Jackets. Maple Leafs, Canadiens. Kings, Coyotes. 8 o'clock, Sharks, Blues. Lightning Stars postponed again due to the weather in Texas. 9 o'clock, Wild Ducks. And 10 o'clock, Flames, Oilers. So a busy slate Saturday. Sunday's not that busy. 2 o'clock NBC, Flyers, Bruins from Lake Tahoe. 7 o'clock, Canadian Senators. NBCSN, Devils, Capitals. So the Devils getting some national TV love. And at 10 o'clock, the Jets against the Canucks. Now we'll move on to tennis. We will go over the semifinals results from the Australian Open, and we will look ahead to the coveted finals. So this should be a lot of fun, obviously. We'll start on the men's side of things. In the semifinals, you had Novak Djokovic over Aslan Karasev in 3 sets. And then early this morning, you had number 4 Daniil Medvedev over number 5 Stefanos Tsitsipas in 3. And now your final is Novak Djokovic and Daniil Medvedev. Tomorrow night, it's going to be a great match. Djokovic is the best men's tennis player in the world. I didn't have any doubts about him going into this tournament, as I think he has a chip on his shoulder, and I think that he'll knock off Medvedev in a good match. I'm going to say this goes 4. And then on the women's side, the semifinals, we talked about it yesterday. Jennifer Brady defeated Karolina Muchova in 3 sets, and Naomi Osaka defeated Serena Williams in 2 sets. And that was pretty impressive by Osaka, and which sets up a good final between Jennifer Brady and Naomi Osaka tonight. I'm actually going to go on FanDuel and see what these lines are. Osaka's minus 480, Brady's plus 370. Djokovic minus 116, Medvedev is even money. I think it's going to be Osaka in 3 sets. So I'm going to say Osaka 2-1 at plus 280 for tonight. And then the men's side, Djokovic in 4, which is 4-1. So Novak Djokovic in 4 sets and Naomi Osaka in 3 for my picks for the Australian Open men's and women's finals, respectively. Now I'm going to go over the current leaderboard at the Genesis Invitational. In first place, you have Sam Burns at 11 under. Second place, you have Tyler McCumber at 9 under. Third place, Jordan Spieth with 6 under. Fourth, Matthew Fitzpatrick at 5 under. Fifth place, Ty, Patrick Cantlay, Joaquin Niemann, Matt Jones. Who else is in there? Cam Smith, Jason Kokrak, and Max Homa, all at 4 under. 12th place is a big tie with 3 under. Dustin Johnson, Francisco Molinari, Keegan Bradley, Taylor Gooch, Cam Davis, Scotty Scheffler, Scott Harrington, Lanto Griffin, Russell Henley, and Wesley Bryan. In 22nd, with 2 unders, a big tie, notables Cam Triangle, Mackenzie Hughes, Tyler Duncan, Brooks Koepka, Kevin Na. Tied for 35th with 1 under, John Rahm is in there. Kyung Hoon Lee, Adam Hadwin, Xander Schauffele, J.B. Holmes, Patrick Rogers, and even right now, Bubba Watson, Tony Finau, Hideki Matsuyama, Victor Hovland, Abraham Ancer, Luke List, Ricky Fowler. 1 over right now is a tie for 71st. Notables Brendan Steele, Henrik Norlander, Brendan Todd, Danny Lee. 2 over tied for 81st. Gary Woodland's in there. Kim Siwoo, Colin Morikwa, Michael Thompson. 93rd with 3 over, Max Hubbard, Dylan McCarthy, JT Potson, James Hahn. Among those in there, Sergio Garcia tied for 103rd with 4 over. Ches Reeves in there. Dylan Fratelli. Tied for 113th with 5 over. My terrible pick of Bryson DeChambeau. Rory McIlroy's in that tie as well. So that's it for the Genesis Invitational. And we will go over the results of how this plays out on the podcast on Monday. Now we'll do NASCAR as we will preview and predict the races. We're going to start with the starting lineup for the Daytona Road Course for the Truck Series. Brent Rhodes, Ryan Truex, Carson Hocevar, John Hunter Nemechek, Sheldon Creed, Corey Roper, Cody Rohrbach, Chandler Smith, Matt Kraft, and Spencer Boyd, Zane Smith, Raphael Lessard, Bobby Roos, Austin Wade Self, Danny Bohm, Christian X, Jennifer Joe Cobb, Jason White, Johnny Sauter, Austin Hill, Brett Moffitt, Parker Chase, Haley Deegan, Kaz Gralla, David Gilliland, Tyler Ankrum, Timothy Peters, Tate Fogelman, Chase Purdy, Stuart Friesen, Derek Ross, Todd Gilliland, Tanner Gray, Timmy Hill, Jeff Nolan, Sam Meyer, Camden Murphy, Dawson Cram, Norm Benning, and Lawless Anlin. I'm going to go to DraftKings now to look at the odds because, like I say every Friday during the NASCAR season, DraftKings has better NASCAR odds than FanDuel does for whatever reason. But I'm going to go with my pick here. Go with Matt Crafton at 14-1. I think that's good value on somebody that is starting in the top 10. He's a solid driver. So why not 14-1 Matt Crafton for tonight for trucks. Xfinity starting lineup for tomorrow night. Brett Moffitt, Austin Cindric, Jeb Burton, Harrison Burton, Daniel Hemrick, AJ Allmendinger, Brendan Brown, Matt Snyder, Joe Graf Jr., Matt Mills, Kyle Weatherman, Ryan Vargas, Jesse Little, Landon Castle, Ty Gibbs, Riley Herbst, Timothy Hill, Jeremy Clements, Chris Wright, Tommy Joe Martins. We don't know who's driving the 23 car yet. Josh Williams, Preston Pardis, Andy Lally, Justin Allgaier, Noah Gragson, Ryan C., Jade Buford, Justin Haley, Greg Goldling, Bailey Curry, Colby Howard, Michael Annette, Stephen Licht, Mikel Paldo, Alex Lab, Jeffrey Earner, Cody Ware, Brandon Jones. For this race, I am going to go with Harrison Burton at 22-1. That's ridiculous value for somebody who's starting in fourth place. Jeb Burton, by the way, 66-1, which is crazy, and he's starting in third. That's pretty good value, too. But I'm going to go Harrison Burton 22-1 to win the Superstart Batteries 188 at the Daytona Road Course. And last but not least, the Cup Series starting lineup for the Daytona Road Course. Chase Elliott got the pole. And then Michael McDowell, Austin Dillon, Denny Hamlin, Kevin Harvick, Ryan Preece, Corey LaJoie, Kyle Larson, Ross Chaston, Bubba Wallace, Joey Logano, Chris Bell, Cole Coster, Kyle Busch, Brad Keselowski, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Kurt Busch, Chase Briscoe, Martin Truex Jr., Justin Haley, Cody Ware, William Byron, Josh Bilicki, Tyler Reddick, Garrett Smithley, Eric Almirola, Ryan Blaney, Scott Heckert, Quinn Houff, Chris Buescher, Anthony Alfredo, Matt DiBenedetto, Ryan Newman, AJ Allmendinger, Daniel Suarez, Alec Bowman, Eric Jones, Ty Dillon, James Davison, and Timmy Hill. And for a winner for this race, I'm going to go with Denny Hamlin at 10-1. I think it's good value for one of the best NASCAR drivers in the world. Denny Hamlin's always good at road courses. He has some good history there. So give me 10-1 with Denny Hamlin on Sunday afternoon in the O'Reilly Auto Parts 253 at the Daytona Race Course. All right, now I'm going to do my NHL Power Rankings for the week. I'm going to try to be very quick here. So, without further ado, here we go. Number 30 is the Ottawa Senators. They've just been bad. They've been competitive with the Maple Leafs a couple times, but they got blown out the other night. Number 30 is the Detroit Red Wings. They've been competitive at times, but at times they looked bad. 29, the Buffalo Sabres, still looking rusty coming off their COVID pause. 28, the Nashville Predators, big underachievers this year in the Central Division. 27, the New York Rangers. Big win for them last night, but that loss to the Devils was so atrocious, and that's why they're in the bottom 5. Number 26 is the New Jersey Devils. I'm still not sold on them, even though they have two pretty good wins. I think that Rangers win, the Rangers took them for granted. And then that was a better win against Boston, in my opinion, last night. But who knows? I think Boston could have taken them for granted as well. But we'll see about the Devils. Number 25, the San Jose Sharks. They've been very competitive throughout the season thus far. Number 24, the Minnesota Wild. They've been a little wacky and inconsistent. 23 is Anaheim Ducks. I continue to give them out on the show, but they fail me. But their goalie, John Gibson's, kept them in some games. 22, the Sacramento Kings. The Los Angeles Kings, they've been surprisingly decent thus far this year. Jonathan Quick's been really good. Gabriel Velarde's looking like a breakout player for them. Number 21, the Vancouver Canucks. The Canucks are looking pretty good after being a little bit of a disappointment. They've had a couple big wins and a good opportunity over the weekend to get some more points. Number 20 is the Dallas Stars. Their COVID pause and their the weather down in Dallas really has hurt them, and hopefully it doesn't come back to bite them in terms of potentially the playoff standings. Number 19, the Arizona Coyotes. They've been a very wacky team. When they score a lot of goals, and sometimes they don't score. I thought that they had a chance to surprise this year, but it doesn't look like that's the case. Number 18, the Calgary Flames. They've been like feast or famine a lot throughout the year. Slow start, picked it up, and then had a couple weird losses. Number 17, the Pittsburgh Penguins. They've been very in the news for unnecessary reasons to me. They're coming off a couple wins against the Islanders, and then they beat the Capitals too. And then they lost to the Capitals. And there's Sidney Crosby trade rumors. I don't see that happening. Maybe Malkin potentially down the road, but I don't see them trading Sid. No way. Number 16, the Winnipeg Jets. They've cooled off a little bit after a good start. 15, the Edmonton Oilers. They've been very feast or famine as well. Number 14, the Columbus Blue Jackets. They're starting to play like the team that I thought they had the potential to be. 13, the Colorado Avalanche. They've been very disappointing so far. Maybe they bought into the hype a little bit. Number 12 is the New York Islanders. They are coming off a bad loss yesterday, but they've had some nice performances of late. Number 11, the Washington Capitals. Vitek Vanecek is somebody that's been very up and down, but after that bad performance against Pittsburgh, he's rebounded a little bit. Number 10, the Philadelphia Flyers. Disappointing loss last night after coming back to tie it against the Rangers, but I think they're fine. 9, the Montreal Canadiens. They've been amazing this year, and I think that they should go out and acquire somebody to really go for it this year. Take advantage of that opportunity. Number 8, the Carolina Hurricanes. They've been awesome this year. Number 7, the Tampa Bay Lightning. They're still the Lightning. And Steven Stamkos has been in and out of the lineup. And obviously no Kucherov all year. So kudos to the reigning champs. Number 6, the Chicago Blackhawks. They've been marvelous this year. I think Jeremy Colton has coached his way off the hot seat for now. And I think for the rest of the season, perhaps, they've been marvelous. Number 5, the Vegas Golden Knights. They are what we thought they were. Picked off right where they left off after their COVID pause. Number 4, the St. Louis Blues. The Blues have been very good. They, I think, have the best quote-unquote resume in the league in terms of they're in first place in a loaded division. Although you could argue a little bit for Boston, and you can argue for a couple other teams. Number 3, the Boston Bruins. That was a bad loss against the Devils last night, but they should be fine. Number 2, the Florida Panthers. The Panthers have been marvelous. Joel Quenneville, to me, is the coach of the year so far. He's really gotten a lot out of this team. They have a good quote-unquote resume, too. I know the Stars having the COVID, then the weather pause certainly has hurt that division as a whole. Chicago is a pleasant surprise, as we talked about, but the Panthers are a huge surprise as well, and it looks like they're going to go back to the postseason after a couple-year drought. And the number one team, again, the Toronto Maple Leafs, they just continue to dominate in and night out, with the exception of that blown game against Ottawa for whatever reason. I thought about punishing them, but they are just are punishing them for that loss. But they're just far and away better than everybody else, so I couldn't pull the trigger and punish them for that bad loss. So there you have it with my power rankings for this week in the National Hockey League. Before we do Best Bet, I'm going to quickly do some news and notes that have happened. We forgot to talk about this on yesterday's show. Fernando Tatis Jr. and the San Diego Padres agreed to a 14-year, $340 million contract extension. The Padres have been big spenders, and they cap off their tremendous offseason by locking up their young superstar shortstop. He's just been tremendous. He's been making $24.25 million a year and he's just a very special player. And he's one of the faces of baseball. You could argue this kid's a top 10 player already, heck, even a top 5 player, and if he isn't already. And good job on San Diego for locking him up long term. And they better win with him, because I don't want this to be the Mike Trout Angels situation where the Angels are just stuck in mediocrity with the best player on the planet on their roster. And to be fair, San Diego, I think, has tried harder than the Angels to build a contender around their young superstars. So, yeah, good for Tatis and good for the Padres for getting it done. A couple other things. 25% capacity for fans at the NCAA tournament, including all rounds in the Final Four. I think that is great for college basketball. I think that the NCAA tournament is not the same without fans. And now, to me, the question is, will certain conference tournaments allow fans? I think that potentially Big East can, because it's going to be at Madison Square Garden. So I think potentially. Big Ten potentially, I think, can have fans. ACC potentially. Pac-12, no. AAC, depending on where it is, I'm going to say maybe. The Big 12, I think, will have fans. So, to me, the NCAA tournament allowing fans is a good sign for potential conference tournaments with fans. Frank Vogel confirms Anthony Davis to be out 4 weeks, so he's going to be out a month. Looks like that he won't be in the All-Star game, which opens up an opportunity for another player in the Western Conference to be an All-Star. So, no Anthony Davis for 4 weeks. I think this can cost the Lakers the 1 seed, but I think that if the Lakers continue to win, this improves LeBron James's MVP case in my mind. And then, obviously, in the wake of the Carson Wentz trade, it was reported that Wentz and Peterson were not talking for almost 2.5 months of the season. And that's crazy. Peterson was fired, and obviously he deserved to be fired, in my opinion. And Wentz, obviously, it just got so sour with the Eagles, even with Peterson fired, that he just had to move on. So, yeah, that's crazy. And you knew that relationship was sour. And don't forget, it was Nick Foles, not Carson Wentz, that helped the Eagles win the Super Bowl. That's why I think it should be called the Wentz theory, not the Ewing theory, where you remove a player from a team and you have success immediately. And same for Bryce Harper with the Nationals. He leaves them in free agency. They win the World Series the next year. To me, it should be the Wentz-Harper theory, not the Ewing theory, because the Knicks did not win the championship the year Patrick Ewing got hurt. They made the NBA Finals, That's why the Ringers' Bill Simmons calls it the Ewing theory. But to me, it should be the Wentz or the Harper theory because you removed Carson Wentz and Bryce Harper, and both those teams won championships respectively in the Eagles and the Nationals. We talked about the passing of Vincent Jackson, the former Buccaneer and Chargers wide receiver. His family is donating his brain to the Boston University's STE Center in an effort to learn more from the wide receiver's death. So that's interesting. We talked about the fan capacity. There are rumors about the Mets potentially acquiring Chris Bryant from the Cubs. That doesn't look like that's going to happen. And SNY's Andy Martino reported that it never got past the first inning. So it was just fake news, I guess. So, there you have it for today's news and notes. And last of my best bet of the day, brought to you by FanDuel. There's a couple that I'm considering. There's a couple in the NBA that I really, really like. And then there's a couple in college basketball that I really, really like. And the one I like the most is the Memphis Grizzlies laying the 4.5 at home against Detroit. I don't get that one at all. Ja Morant is the best player on the court easily. The Pistons stink. So give me Memphis minus 4.5 at home against the pathetic and hapless Detroit Pistons. So there you have it for the show today. I'll be back on Monday recapping everything from the weekend, from college basketball, the NBA, the NHL, NASCAR, golf, tennis, and looking ahead to everything on Monday. On Sunday night, I'm going to have my buddy Terry Cushman on the podcast to talk some baseball with camps opening up around Major League Baseball, and we'll talk about the state of his beloved Boston Red Sox as well. Hope you guys have a great weekend, everyone.